What's up, everybody? My name is Kaylin, back at you with another screenshot episode from the subconscious lake of self, full of keys and digging, unearthing, and bringing up the artifacts, getting through all the rust, getting through all the muck, all sedentary, fossilized, whatever you call it. We are going back in time because we are going forward, because we are present here and now and we want to be. So, reflecting on today, not that I really particularly was trying to look at astrology or transit or anything in particular like that. I just sat all day with the notion of, was that video for me? You know? And I haven't been confirmed, and at the same time, it was for me in the way that I felt it resonate. So, where I'm wanting to go with that is because, quick little astrology insert. Uh, my astrologer, he really posts new podcasts, so I am always very keen on whenever something comes out that is an aspect to my chart, particularly because I've gone through the podcasts on his channel. I've downloaded quite a few of them, and I've been listening to him for about, it can almost be like a year now. So at least 8 months or so, but it's been germinating, me listening to my natal chart synthesis, which I'm going to link his latest podcast both in the community posts and in the video description. But it was on Venus in Sagittarius, and why I downloaded it was because of my being a Sagittarius rising and my natal chart synthesis that he had done, all culminated towards him expressing what the Sagittarian archetype is unfolding within my life as an ascendant. So I always think of the rising sign of, like, it's the part of you that's like rising out of all of this. It's the alchemical, subtle, pheromonal hormones that just, are these alchemical balanced nuances of your integration. And it's like you will just radiate the fact that all your patterns make sense and links back to you. Very toroidal flower of life, like, right? Very universal. So, and also very ninth house, very spiraling galaxy, galactic center, central point of reference. I see Sagittarius, the archer, bull's eye perspective, right? So, him delineating my chart according to my tropical placements and synthesizing my Venus in Cancer as to how the sign of Cancer has to produce Venus for me, and obviously it went into deeper parts of the synthesis, but the essential narrative of it was related to not only the fact that Venus in Cancer sits opposite my Neptune in Capricorn, and my Venus with Cancer being on the cusp of the 8th, and my Venus trying to push itself into that house by being like a degree off from being in the eighth house. And how my D9 chart breaks down my Venus to a Sagittarius, Navamsha, Mula, Venus, and it being conjunct Uranus in Purva Shada, right? So all of this Asterian, Ketu, Purva Shada, Venus, side Ketu, Sun, exaltation, Aries, Libra axis work that I've been trying to integrate if you've watched my videos, especially because of the whole mind derailing that I had, not only because of the way the Velikovsky theory kind of exists only in a certain paradigm and it's not mainstream accepted. Even the AI would repeatedly tell me that it's not accepted in mainstream science. And the dissonance of Aphrodite and Venus and Athena and Mars and Mercury and like who all these characters were, and the way I was doing my Uranus, Jupiter, Aquarius things, that I also done videos about, those things all fed into me understanding this podcast on a whole deeper level, even as it relates to this channel and what I'm trying to do and what that Saturn in Pisces video of Free to Be Whole Astrology was calling me to do, you know, in terms of the post-orgasmic experience, the intimacy of integrated oneself with one's knowing, and that only being purely achieved once the merging that Scorpio seeks as that central point, merging towards the galactic center, and as that sexual drive of Mars and all of that. And what came to light just about like my 12th house moon in Libra, which is also Venus, and my Taurus cusping Prometheus sun, which is also Venus, and everything I was going through with my God of War programming, having like the Olympians as one version of, you know, gods in a pantheon, and then having the Asuras and the Devas as another version, and then me being South African, having all this indigenous and Egypt knowledge that we can claim, if we can claim it, I don't know. Then I hear something about Egypt and America, and then I hear, you know, a shaman in my country talk about aliens, Credo Mutwa, and then I hear David Icke even talking to him. So it just was this weird labyrinth of who's who, what's what, like what to believe, what does it add to the story, what does it add to the focus that you can gain in exploring this space, with that sense of I will merge with that which I seek to penetrate, and I will be one with it, you know, because what my astrologer then went on to, I really advise that you guys watch the podcast because I don't now want to quote everything, but the integration of the Jupiterian impulse, which is Jupiter in Scorpio, relates to the translation of the merging principle into the focus that Sagittarius has for his explorative, expansive principle, because that which has been achieved in Scorpio, you know, becomes the foundation of this subconscious thing that people will assume to be the Sagittarius's luck, but it's actually just the process of Scorpio having gone through Libra and Virgo, and we knowing that those were all kind of like one sign. So that process of purity, and he almost went into like memory and genetics and what we look for in the next generation that elevates that impulse of the post-orgasmic experience to new heights and more. Like that's why the Sagittarius archetype is always described as either traveling or being very culturally diverse and eclectic in their interests. A lot of that kind of also germinates with the third away KRS technique of Aquarius in the kind of mind's eye Gemini position of a Sagittarius. So which is also where KRS channel would exalt Jupiter, and other outlets would not really give Jupiter to Pisces and rather give it to Neptune and exalt Pluto there. And in my personal scheme that I'm working on, I kind of think of Sagittarius being ruled by Chiron, because the galactic center to me is like Pandora's box and Chiron is the key. And I've just played around a lot with like putting glyphs together and things like that. So obviously when I feel it's refined, bringing it back to my D9 and Leo 9th house perspective and Saturn in the Leo decan of Aries 5th house perspective, feeding into the Sag rising with Jupiter in the 3rd, seeing that what needs to kind of happen in terms of the pattern arranging and all these galleries and tapestries and things that I always talk about, that's it's like braiding DNA. It's like knowing what essences you want to like pass down in the seminal story of what will become the fluid narrative of your life eternal, generation upon generation. Like what do you want to give as a legacy, like all of those things that Capricorn and the Sea Goat and the seminal work manifesting as the edifice upon which, you know, the initiate, the Christ is gonna go through the final kind of trial, you know, the John the Baptist Aquarius thing and the cross of humanity, Pisces, Revati, Ashwini type of thing. Death, rebirth, all of that. So just in terms of what I heard today on like stepping into the light of all of this and knowing that we are just acting. I can't know the whole story. I can't synthesize the whole pattern. Although my faith, or what people would call faith, could grow in the experiences that I had, that there was some sort of reason behind it all, and me looking for what people were calling those reasons, you know, whether they called it God, whether they called it astral influences of hierarchies, powers, principalities that Prometheus did not want his children to serve as idolaters, and so on and so forth. Venus not being this beautiful luxury goddess of Milky Ways, but having a very swapped side, you know, and not being, you know, even like the moon and the dark side of the moon and the Lilith archetypes and all of those things kind of like all siphon into like this one whirlpool of a story. The way Maya's Ophiuchus rising and that redeeming quality of myself is constantly like figuring out like how to put it all into like this arrangement that my astrologer and his latest podcast gave me such a deeper insight into, like my D9 chart, my Uranus, Sagittarius, Venus placements in the D9, my Neptune, which the mastering in the zodiac chart puts at like the end of Sag also, and even in my design chart I'm a Sag rising, so it's putting that Neptunian energy into my reflector energy with my Cancer moon and my Pisces stellium. So it just gave more context to the tropical chart being, you know, being able to give me what it gave me, and me not needing to just, because I watched this video also on like the third decan of Gemini. Oh my god, something just appeared again. And there it's gone. The third decan of Gemini was like the Picatrix, and I'll insert some screenshots somewhere in the video. And they spoke about how it relates to like the Ten of Swords energy, and like my being a K and 11 and having to come out of that initiation through myself, just learning to kind of like cut the twin self and the mirage, and yet it was also like me, and choosing the life or death of either or. I'm gonna link that video as well. So all of these things, and the Saturn in Pisces, the finding my feet, but also like with the heads and tails of it all being two faces of the same coined, minted, limited edition face that is me. Should I like coin my words and put my face on it? Should I be able to take that flip of it all and just allow myself the gamble of it, allow myself the putting myself out there, Sagittariusness of it all? You know, I'm really thinking, and it's like I don't even have to think, I already know, but it's like just giving it to my like reflector moon cycle, I guess, to kind of like genetically build some cells and fortitude or whatever it needs to do for me to be ready. But guys, I'm gonna be ready. I promise. At least I promise to you guys, because I've broken promises to myself that I wouldn't want to be caught dead knowing that I should be accountable for having done that, because it was just so low of me, I guess. Ugh. So let me just make the promise to you guys, you know what? And it's not even, I mean, I guess, no, let me say, I want there to be people out there who wants this to happen, who will support this to happen. You know, I want to know that there will be a safe landing for me to come and gallop through this enchanted forest of YouTubes, where my tube and your tube and everybody just, you know. But I want this to be genuine, and I don't want to, because at the same time, like, if I don't have to, I don't have to. There are other facets in my life where I can apply that need to grow and be out there and whatever. And if I can get my teeth fixed and then do it, and I'm only ready then, you know what, I will want to be able to say that I can forgive myself for that too, or that it was the right thing to do. Because right now it's just a matter of me needing to clear myself in a way that everything can like make sense, with that gut feeling, faith that the Sagittarian archer can take his shot with. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm afraid of failing at this. I am just really at a place in my life where I want to not invite in what I don't think serves me. And if inviting hate in because I know X, Y, and Z is going to cause whatever, I can hope my personality and everything else, I can hope for making content that is exciting and all sorts of different ideas, but that is not really what I want to do. I don't want to break up astrology into all of its aspects or break up the mythologies into all of its deep dives. I want to, in alignment with what I've learned through natal chart synthesis and just my Venus in Sagittarius from the Cancer Navamsha Pada on the cusp of the 7th and the 8th, and then how it all kind of comes full circle with what I've been learning about myself and going through my phone and deleting things. And I'll even like insert some of those screenshots, like, because I'm really trying to just declutter, as I said, and build from the ground up and build on a secure foundation, and that's why in my first video I was trying to be very honest, even if I didn't feel I totally achieved that through the codon ring of secrets, because obviously there are people involved that I don't want to just, make it all about them or forget about what the lesson I'm seeing this thing appear again. It just like came out of like behind a cloud and now it's like doing a little rising, and then there's a disappearing. Is it disappearing? There's it gone. Well, I'll admit that it is cloudy here, but usually like if an aeroplane flies at a certain trajectory, um, you can still see the lights kind of sparkling through the clouds. Especially if it's very dark out as it is now because it is load shedding here by us. So I don't know, guys. I'm just thinking out loud and I'm trying to be as honest and unfiltered as I can be about that. But, having the boundary or the filter that I need just to keep certain energies away from myself, to not be psychologically triggered or to, I don't want to be on defense mode. I don't want, like, if I can just have that relaxation in, because there are a lot of faceless YouTube channels out there, but is it going to hurt my growth? Is it going to hurt my sense of authenticity? Is it going to hurt my ability to either get monetized based on what I say, or should I get a Patreon? Because don't get me wrong, I want to make money from being able to share my ability to pattern, and it's all about giving me the invitation of what pattern do you need. Do you need these random words connected? Give me a day, let me like connect it. Do you need this story and this part of your chart and this thing that happened in a relationship? Do you need that connected? I can see connections everywhere, and I'm tired of being told I'm a narcissist, because I can ultimately then see myself as being this fractal in everybody's story and being connected to everybody's story and being essentially a droplet of the experience in a just wholly unique cocktail combinationally, but it's because of that Venus, Sagittarius, Uranus patterning with the Cancer and with the Gemini and with the everything that just makes my chart and my coming together of my functional lights, my signs producing these planets, my to the degree that I have them at, the numbers and the deeper wisdoms that underpin everything archetypally. I've seen that my life was and is and will continue to be the unfoldment of my ability to arrange this as per what feels good to me and what does not, because that is what Venus is. That is why they equate it to your pleasure seeking principle, the way you um appreciate beauty and harmony, right? And so to me, just looking for all the symmetry and the lack of symmetry, and even looking upon it to myself, like that outwardly solar inner corrosive quality, um the Libra moon tip-topping the scales, the Taurus Gemini cusp, the Promethean, is he a hero, is he the devil cusp, the bull's eye of it all, is it idolatry or is it ideal cusp? Um, and just the Ophiuchus hidden one of it all that needed to redeem this as an alchemical twin to this thing keeps appearing, and like literally it had an ascension like past the light post. It reappeared beneath the light. There's it gone again. It reappeared beneath the light post, and like it just made like a very bright light. There's it coming again, and there's, oh my god, it's like winking. Oh my god, what is this? Like, I'm trying to think to myself, like, is it some sort of tower light? Is it some sort of, like, what is it? Because if it is, it would just kind of like not move off the mountain. Because, yeah, that just doesn't make sense. I just wish this thing would focus. Okay, there it comes out again. Do you guys see? I'm trying to use my flash now. But those orange things, that's like lights. Those are lampposts that's consistently been shining, right?